Here's a little history quiz for you. This is the Edmund Pettus Bridge. What is its historical significance and what runs underneath it? If you don't know the answer, we're about to tell you, and it has a lot to do with some really good crappie fishing. I'm glad you're along with us. We're coming to you from Alabama this week. Let's Fish TV is on the air right now. That is a fish. Oh man, look at this.
It's time for the only program that brings you real-time fishing reports from the Southeast region every week.
Oh my gosh. Oh, look at that. Woo!
This is Let's Fish.
Hi everybody and welcome to this week's episode. We're coming to you from a very historic place in the Deep South. This is downtown Selma, Alabama. There's a lot of history here, including the famous Edmund Pettus Bridge that's right in the background. Now, it was over that bridge that 2,000 civil rights protesters began a long march led by Martin Luther King. It lasted 3 days, 54 miles. They marched all the way to the state capital of Alabama in Montgomery in support of voting rights across the South. A lot of things changed in March of 1965 after that march. Most people know about that. You can read about it in the history books or watch the movie about Selma that came out just a few years ago. What a lot of people don't know is about the Alabama River that runs right under that bridge. The Alabama River are some of the most fertile fishing waters anywhere in the state of Alabama. It's a couple of 100 miles of good bass fishing, striper fishing, white bass, and today we're going to show you some of the crappie fishing in some of the side bays off the Alabama River. We're going to be taking the Camus CX21 down to the boat ramp, launch it, go a few miles downstream and show you some spider rigging. While we're doing that, we're going to be taking you around your local region for this week's fishing reports from our expert team of Let's Fish insider reporters from lakes, rivers, and bays right where you live, both saltwater and freshwater. Right now, the Camus goes down to the park, down the boat ramp. Next time you see me, I'll be pushing some spider rigs for crappie. Let's get things started back at the studio right now and your weekend planner.
Hey there everyone, we want to make sure and wish everybody a fun and safe Labor Day weekend. These saloon tables are showing fair game fish activity for all 3 days this holiday weekend. Peak daytime activity will start at 2:40 on Saturday, 3:12 Sunday, and 3:45 Monday afternoon. Nighttime action picks up at 2:15 on Saturday, 2:47 Sunday, and 3:20 Monday night. Expect the sun to rise around 7:04 and set around 7:45, and evenings will feature a moon that is 93% visible. We'll be right back to check all of the current fishing reports from throughout the area. Plus, I will return with MLF angler Jeff Sprague to answer this week's Ask the Pro question. Stay with us.
Let's Fish TV is proudly backed by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Have fun out there. Bobby Garland Crappie Baits and the original Baby Shad and new slab Huntar Minnow. Glacier Glove. Stay outdoors longer with our gloves, hats, and shades. Balls Out. Made in the USA. Heavy duty mounts for your fish finders. And by Camus Boats. Tomorrow's tournament boat today.
We've made it out onto the Alabama River. And there is an Alabama River crappie. There's a bite. Boy, they're hitting it easy. He got it. I got one. Yeah. There's a decent fish. Come up here. Come here, fat one. Yeah, look at that. All right, hey, we got something going. Welcome back, everybody. We've made it out onto the Alabama River, and there is an Alabama River crappie right there. That's a real fat fish. They're out here feeding up on these little shad, and I don't know what all is in this river system, but I don't know if they've got those herring in here or what, but that's a good start anyway. We're not keeping them today. I ought to fillet those dudes, but that one's going back. Let me get you set up on the Alabama River. This is a a real unique fishery. It begins about Montgomery, Alabama, where the Tallapoosa and the Coosa River come together to form the Alabama River. It runs through 4 different pools, 4 different locks and dams, until it hits the lower Alabama River, and that's a 72-mile stretch that eventually dumps into the Tombigbee River. That's the stretch we're in now. Now, the river itself is 30 or 40 feet deep, but there are lots of side lakes and little side ditches and canals that come off the river. So you can actually fish either one. Different times of the year, the crappie will get in both places. In the hot part of the summer, the cold part of the winter, they'll actually go in the main river itself, and they'll get out in 30 feet of water and suspend or get on the bottom. The rest of the year, though, they live in these side lakes. And I want to show you on my Lowrance HDS Live unit here several shots of what these side lakes look like, but there's just tons of them. You can just start down the river, and interesting, they'll have little tiny necks that dump into the river, and then they'll open up into a big wide lake. And I'm in one of those, and you can look around me and see that we're just in a big, long, wide lake, and there's a bunch of these. But we're off to a start on the Alabama River. We're down south of Selma, Alabama.
Well, it's already been a great season for flounder this year along the southeast coast, but the best fishing is yet to come with this fall season coming up. It really looks like it's going to be a good one, and I'll have all the fishing details on flounder throughout the southeast coast right after this word from our good friends at Foreshore Transportation. Foreshore Transportation, the simple solution to all your freight hauling needs. Foreshore can ship freight across the country or across the state. Whatever the load, wherever the destination, Foreshore gets it done fast, safe, and hassle-free. Not very many fish are more popular than the flounder inshore, and the upcoming fall fishing season really looks to be a good one for flatfish. Fall fish, they catch a lot of 5 to 6 to 8 and even 10-pound fish, particularly along the southeast coast of Georgia. Most of these fish are caught in 1 to 6 feet of water, and most of them are caught on grub jigs, sliding sinker setups with strip baits or live mud minnows. Flounder along the southeast coast in Mississippi, Georgia, and Alabama are caught around docks and pilings, bulkheads, that sort of thing, but they also are along drop-offs. Wade fishermen do very well at times. Well, that's it for the southeast coast. Get out on the water and take a youngster with you when you go.
There's a bite. Boy, they're hitting it easy. Got him. Oh, that's a good one too. These are all good solid fish. There we go. Yes, another fatty. There. Boy, they are liking that one color of Bobby Garland right there, that baby shad. They love that color. It's got some gold glitter in it. Look at the belly on that crappie. Whoa, let's not drift away here. All right, well, back he goes. We're putting them back today. Good for them, bad for me, because crappie are my favorite fish to eat. I want to show you my rig here. Spider rigging is a controlled depth style of fishing. Crappie are very depth-oriented fish. Once you find a couple at one depth, you're going to find a bunch more at that same depth. So we found these fish about 4 feet down. So I want to keep my bait 4 feet down. However, what happens when you've got this jig and you're trolling along, even as slow as 0.3, 0.4, 0.2 miles an hour, that jig will tend to get caught in the current and ride up shallower as you move. So you want to be able to keep that jig straight down so that you can keep it that same 4 feet under the surface. So the way I'm doing that is I've got a little weight here. This is a Strike King tungsten weight. It's a 1/2 ounce. It's basically a drop shot weight. It's what bass fishermen use to drop shot with. That's a pretty heavy jig head as well. I believe that is it's either a 16th or an 8th Moglo jig head. But that's my rig, and that allows me to put these 4 lines out here, drop them straight down. The weight holds it straight even when you're trolling in current or when you're going about 0.3 or 0.4 miles an hour. Keeps it about that same controlled depth, 4 feet under the surface, and that is critical to catching these fish, and it's working real well today. Bobby Garland, baby. That's a Bobby Garland baby shad swimmer. Here's another one. Here's another one. Got him. Oh, that's a good one too. Look at there. That's a good one. Get in my net. Come on, get in my net. Get in my net, dude. I need a longer net. There we go. All right, let me anchor my trolling motor here. There we go. There's a big fat one. Yeah. Bobby Garland, baby. That's a Bobby Garland baby shad swimmer right there. And there is another Alabama River crappie right there. Welcome back, everybody. Alabama River crappie fishing today. And we've got something going on. I love catching these dudes. Let that one go back. I told you that we were spider rigging today. And what spider rigging is, I'll get out of the way where you can see, but I've got my rod holders here and I've got 4 rods rigged up in a spread out in front of the boat, pointing forward. And unlike long lining where you're casting it out and trolling it behind the boat, I'm actually fishing straight down and I'm just creeping through the tops of all this brush out here. So what we've got is one of these big lakes, and a lot of them are just loaded with flooded timber. So I'm going to show you on my side scan, my HDS Live side scan back here. You can see all this timber actually on both sides of the boat. I've got it reading out the left and the right side. And we've got tons of standing timber. Most of it's pole timber. Some of it's got horizontal limbs sticking off the sides of it. But these crappie, interestingly enough, are suspended up in the tops of these trees. I'm in 10 or 12 feet of water. And your tendency would be to fish down close to the bottom. These fish are 2 to 4 feet below the surface in 10 or 12 feet of water. They're suspended way up. So if you drop it to the bottom and troll through here, you're not going to get a bite. You're under the fish. You got to be fishing up above them. So Eric Cagle, our guide, told me to just set your lines at about 4 feet below the surface and just creep through here. And it's very technical. I'm creeping through here at about 0.2 or 0.3 miles an hour, 0.2 or 0.3 of 1 mile an hour.
Hey folks, Captain E here with your Carolinas report, this week brought to you by the Crazy Sister Marina, located on the Marsh Walk in Merle's Inlet. We're the leader in water sports, but we can take care of all your needs. You want to come into town and live like a local? We got it all right here. Paddle boards, kayaks, eco tours. Hey, rent a boat, do it yourself, or come go with one of our great captains on our private charter boats. Our new Inlet Princess, the most productive head boat you're going to find anywhere around, is running trips daily, and you can get on one of those as well. Visit crazysistermarina.com for more information. And we're going to talk saltwater this week. Shipping channels, river channels right now from North Carolina to South Carolina. Heading to Georgetown, Beaufort, Charleston. Start looking for those bull reds to show up. They're in the normal haunts. You're going to find them. Get out with heavier equipment. Take some heavier stuff out there. Limit the fights with these fish. Get them back in the water. They're our future. They're the breeders. And we need them for our resources and for our kids and grandkids to get out and enjoy the same fish that we're getting to enjoy. Also staying in those same areas, but more so offshore in that 60 foot of water right now on nearshore structures. You've got live bottom, you've got a reef. You're going to find some great king mackerel bites right now. Get ready. It's time to get out and enjoy, and remember, work smarter, not harder, and keep your chaos organized.
Let's Fish TV is proudly backed by Mercury, Go Boldly, Lowrance, America's #1 fish finder, Lose, Feel the Difference, and by Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, Alabama. Get our free fishing guide at orangebeach.com.
And we're catching fat ones too. Every one I've caught has had a real fat belly. One. Got him. What have I got? He's running. Good one. No giant. Made me a longer handled net where I can reach out a little further, and I got him. Can't get away from me like that last one did. I broke one off a few minutes ago. Well, I have totally lost it. Get back in that net. Come here, buddy. There we go. Just a good sized fish. Seemed to be all about the same size. I hooked a big one a while ago and was was messing around with it, trying to get it over here where we can get a good look at it on the camera, and it broke my line. I'm only using 6-pound line. Let me talk to you just a few minutes about the Alabama River, what I've learned about it from being here. I told you about how long it is. It's a couple of 100 miles long. This lower pool that I'm in, 72 miles long, but there are 4 different pools. The species that live in here consist of striped bass and paddlefish, which they catch below the dams. They let water through those dams, and there's always a lot of current there, and those paddlefish and big striped bass will get in that current. You can catch largemouth and spotted bass either along the edges of the river or in some of these back lakes like the one that we're in. There's white bass in here, big white bass, up to 3 pounds. Obviously there's crappie, there's catfish, both species. There's even an endangered species, one of the most endangered species on the planet, called the Alabama sturgeon. It only lives here in the well, I'm not sure if it only lives here, but it's one of the few places that it lives, and it's nearly extinct, but they do have them still in this river. So it's a very fertile river system here. The water in the actual river itself is fairly clear. Believe it or not, the water in the back lakes is murkier. The one we're in, it's pretty stained water here, but you get out on the river, it's pretty darn clear water. It's coming out of that Coosa, and that's pretty clear water as well. So you have to kind of look and see where you want to stay and where you want to put in, but it's a long river system that's got great fishing all the way up and down it.
Hey guys, this week's Tennessee, Mississippi, and Alabama Fishing Report is brought to you by J.B. Langley. You know, you have tons of options on the clothing you wear. I personally like clothing that fits good, wears good, looks good, but is also super applicable to my lifestyle. And check them out at jblangley.com. Now, starting in Mississippi, when this weather starts doing this, I want to start looking for big crappie. Big crappie moving into shallow cover, and that is what is happening right now. A buddy of mine went down to Enid the other day and caught some big fish, shallow in cover brush. In Tennessee, I'm going to Chickamauga. I haven't talked about chick in a while, but here's the thing. This time of year, that grass is starting to mature. It's starting to mat up. It's, you know, starting to be more prevalent all over the lake. Bladed jigs like a thunder cricket. Topwater baits are going to get better and better. Let's jump to Alabama and go straight to Guntersville. It's the same thing as chick. Same river system, the same rules apply. Thunder crickets, pitch flip, punch plastics, and hang on. Hey guys, it's starting to happen here. It's going to get better every day. All you got to do is get here. God's bless.
Here's a bite right here. Look at this. Got him. There we go. There's a good crappie. Come in here. There we go. Got him. All right. Well, we're catching them today, and we're catching fat ones too. Every one I've caught has had a real fat belly. They are loving that color. You know, a lot of times I'm not a big believer in color of bait, but I'll show it to you again at the end. But that color of baby shad swimmer right there has just outperformed everything else I've done today. Well, I'm going to let that one go back, and I want to explain a couple of other things about spider rigging. As you saw early, we've got these 4 rods set out, and when you're spider rigging, you're covering this water, but you always want to push forward. You want to drive the boat. In my case, with my MotorGuide Tour Pro, I've got it at about 0.2, 0.3 miles an hour, and I'm driving straight forward. You want to go into the wind. It's a lot easier to control the boat into the wind than downwind. You'll go too fast going downwind. So I've got the 4 rods out. You want to go forward because you want your baits to be the first thing the fish contacts. You don't want the lapping of your hull of your boat or your trolling motor or anything else rustling around in the boat to be the first thing the fish hears. The first thing you want him to see or hear is when that bait comes over the top of him, and they'll come up and get it. So you want to always push forward with your rods pointed straight out the front like I've got these. Secondly, you want to keep your rod tips low to the water. You want to set your rod holders with the rods down low. If you get them up high, the wind will catch them and it'll blow your bait up shallow, won't keep it down in the strike zone.
Watch our latest episode or catch up on past episodes on our website at letsfishtv.com. Be sure to hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter for new fishing videos every day. And download the free WAYPOINT TV app to get all the latest episodes every week on your phone, tablet, computer, or smart TV. Let's Fish TV is proudly backed by MotorGuide's Tour Pro, cable steer motor with GPS anchor, WAYPOINT Marine, the Gulf Coast's leading saltwater boating specialist, Strike King, Taiwan On, and by Low Boats. Welcome to Low Country.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's get right to your Ask the Pro question for this week. Kelly wants to know, if you could have lunch with anyone who is currently alive, who would it be? For an answer, we asked MLF angler Jeff Sprague.
If I could go have lunch with anybody that's alive on the planet Earth right now, I would have to say Robert Duvall. I know that sounds kind of crazy. Robert Duvall is my all-time favorite actor. I'm not starstruck very often, but Robert Duvall has been in every single Western movie that I've ever watched from the time I was knee-high to a June bug all the way up to my adulthood now. He's been in movies with John Wayne, everyone, Clint Eastwood that you can imagine. So I would love to sit down, eat lunch, and maybe even have a beer with Robert Duvall.
Thank you, Jeff. If you want some help from one of the pros, simply go to letsfishtv.com and follow that Ask the Pro link to submit a question. Now it's time to find out who wins this week's Big Catch of the Week.
Back at the boat ramp at the Alabama River, and it's time right now for this week's winner in the Big Catch of the Week contest. He's Junior Vieta of Rome, Georgia, with a 28.1 pound striped bass he caught at the Chattooga River in Georgia. If you'd like to be our next winner, just go to our Facebook page, look at last Tuesday's post, that's the one about the Big Catch of the Week, follow the instructions to post your photo, and be sure to include the details about the catch.
Here's today's Right Stuff, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors.
I've already showed you most of the gear that we use to catch those crappie this week on the show. The Lew's Wally Marshall Signature Series rods, all the rod holders, the Bobby Garland Baby Shad Swim Arm. We've already showed you all of that, but we could not do this spider rigging without the help of the MotorGuide Tour Pro trolling motor. This thing is everything you could ever want, all packed into one trolling motor. It's a foot control, it's a GPS, it'll anchor you in one position, or it'll do two very important things for spider rigging. It will put you on a heading with a heading lock feature and take you down one line at your speed, or you can use the cruise control. You can click your own speed in and it'll keep you on that heading at that speed as long as you want to go, regardless of wind or current. Check out the MotorGuide Tour Pro trolling motor, the MotorGuide website, or at your local marine dealer. I never ever want to preach at anyone or tell anyone what choices they should make or what they should do. But what I can do is speak from my very own experience, what's happened to me in my own life. And what I can tell you from my perspective is that there is a God, and He is good, and He cares about what happens to me. One of my good friends, Toby Slough, says it's hard to chase someone who's chasing you. And I believe for every little step that I take towards God, He runs back towards me. And I fully believe He would do the same thing for you. We had a great time today catching those crappie right here on the Alabama River, south of Selma, Alabama. If you'd like to book your very own guide trip and catch some of these crappie for your very own, you can do that with my friend Eric Cagle of C&M Guide Service. He fishes the entire Alabama River. He follows the migration of these crappie, and he can put you on some. You can contact him. The information you see at the bottom of your screen right now. From the Alabama River, until next week, let's fish, everybody. I'm Barry Stokes saying be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.